Here's Christine in New Orleans. It's great to have you, and welcome. I'm so glad you waited.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
My grandson was saying, hang up, quit waiting. You see? Perseverance.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Never give up. Never, ever, ever give up.
Absolutely. I'm 67 years old. I'm from New Orleans. The last time I spoke with you, Rush, you were on AM in New Orleans in the 80s. I think it was the 80s.
It was even some into the 90s, yes.
Yeah, you're great. I wanted to, you don't need validation by any means, but in case there are any listeners out there who doubt anything you say about the liberals and especially the Clintons, my brother was Don Juno, who was a liberal attorney in New Orleans and for the Indians, the Navajos. He worked for the Clintons for years. I was his confidant. He told me everything.
Oh.
And everything. I was his sister. I was his best friend. I've been offered lots of money to write a book, and I like oxygen too much to write it. But everything you say about Hillary, and he said she'd never be president because everyone hated her. He's dead now. God bless him. That's why I can finally speak. But it's really true. I mean, I saw it firsthand, front row seat from the 60s on, and everything you say about them is absolutely true, and everything you say about the liberal. Not that you need that validation, but in case there's a listener out there who might doubt you, they can call me, because it's almost like you were there. I mean, you know details that no one else could possibly know that I know are true.
I've never been there. Trust me.
Never been where? With the libs?
The Clintons. I've never been there with the Clintons.
Oh, I got you. I'm saying the things you say about the liberals and the things you say about their agendas, et cetera.
Oh, that's just because I've studied them. I mean, I know them as well as I know anything or anybody else.
It's uncanny. And I appreciate your time. I have a 13-year-old who's at Newman, who's an honor student, who loves you. Can he please ask you a question?
Sure.
Here you go.
Hi. I was wondering, so for my generation, it seems as though the political correct culture is just very, very high right now. And it seems as though it's being very subversive, and it's almost to the point where it's like totalitarianism. And I'd wonder, what do you think we can do in order to bring our generation to, a path that's actually true?
I'd tell you something. What is your name, young man?
I'm John.
John, I appreciate the question. I've got to go here in 10 seconds. I want to answer it on the air. I have pondered this question my entire career. How do you tell misinformed people that they are wrong? Now, on this question of young millennials who know everything but don't know anything, they've been lied to. They've been totally misinformed. They have believed everything in their pop culture media, late night comedians, the drive-by news, the New York Times, whatever they read. How do you combat that? How do you tell somebody, maybe your child, that what they know is wrong? And I've thought about it. It's something that fascinates me. I don't have a perfected method. So I've thought about, would you do it with lightheartedness and humor? Would you do it with real focused intensity? Would you sit a person down and be very serious with them, but not from a preaching standpoint, but from a position of really caring a lot? Because you don't know what you know, and what you think you know is dead wrong. I've been fascinated with with trying it. I've never done it, not in a compressed or an actual session of it. I've run into people who are the kind of people we're talking about, and I've listened to them go on, and they are almost uniformly arrogant and conceited about what they know. They think everybody else are the idiots. And they're very brash, and some of them can be rude and impolite in their attitudes about what they know and how stupid you are, and it's all part and parcel of how you would approach them. I've found that in many cases, like when I was their age, I had, and this is true, I had profound respect for people older than me. I automatically concluded they knew more than I did. And I concluded that they had had more experiences than I had. So I thought they had more wisdom than I did. So I was, including my parents, and I didn't rebel against my parents from the standpoint that they were idiots and didn't get it. I rebelled in that I didn't want to follow their pathways, but I never thought that they were doomcoffs and idiots and all that. And I think a lot of young people today have not only erroneous information and sadly incorrect beliefs, but because of the attitudes that are present on social media that they've adopted, there is almost an arrogance and an unwarranted conceit in some of them. So how do you deal with that? And I have to tell you, I haven't had a chance to put my various theories into practice. So all I have done is imagined it. And I've imagined sitting down and letting them lead the conversation, ask a question open and let them lead it, and say whatever it is they say. And when they've uttered something that's just grossly incorrect, stop them. And do you really believe that? Ask them. Why do you believe that? Get as much validation from them, evidence as you can. It won't be much. And then I imagine embarking on correcting them and telling them the truth. I have no idea how it would go. I imagine I would be rejected, and because some of these people have built cocoons around themselves. They don't want to know the truth. They're comfortable in whatever misunderstandings or lies they have accepted. And that's what the snowflakes are. Anything that challenges this little belief system that they live in is considered a threat that has to be dispatched and gone away with. So I can only answer this theoretically. I've always thought that a very serious and with some breaks in it, I don't mean, pedal to the metal intensity, but seriousness in the sense that you care, that they understand what they know is wrong. And then you have to be armed with what is correct, and you have to be able to refute every claim they make in a way they'll accept it or understand it, otherwise you'll lose them. I think I'm uniquely qualified to do that. But the actual getting their attention and holding it, I don't know. And the old adage, they'll grow out of it. They get older, they'll grow out of it. That's not happening. My generation of this kind of people was the 60s, and they're worse today than they were. They know less. They're more corrupt. Their intelligence is more polluted. Their knowledge is more polluted than it even was when they were my age, well, in the 60s, 19, 20, 25. It's just piled on itself. And there's no convincing them. In fact, it's kind of stark and shocking how completely, totally misinformed, ill-informed so many people are. And I'm not talking about nuance. I'm talking straight fact versus lie.